Hi folks, Mike Sinet here again. How you doing? Thanks for watching the video. So as I said on some of my previous videos, I've been traveling around the country trying to expose the Applegate Christian Fellowship. They're part of Calvary Chapel. So I keep going to the Calvary Chapels. Don't you want to know about them? You keep bringing them there. You have relationships with them. They're part of your organization. So I'm just trying to warn the people again and educate them about all the stuff they did in Southern Oregon. I don't know if Calvary Chapels, all of them are like them. But a lot of the ones I ran into, they seem to be just like these people. So in this particular case here, I ran into Skip Isaac and the Calvary Chapel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I was there for about 18 months from October of '06 all the way through February of '08. And so I'm going to tell you that story there. I'm new to YouTube, so that's why I'm just covering some stuff that already happened to me. I think some people find it interesting. Besides that, you're trying to remember this in Christ, folks. There's no concept in the scriptures, grace, anything you're talking about here, not when we stand before Christ, that as time goes by, something wrong becomes right. There is no concept in the scriptures of that happening. So this is why I'm going back to it now, because I'm still seeking an explanation from the city of Albuquerque, from the church there. I'm still seeking an apology. I'm still seeking something, because I didn't do anything. I'm standing on a sidewalk. Folks, I go to these places and some of these sidewalks are 150 yards long. This particular thing, I'm 85, 100 yards away from the building. I'm standing next to a parking lot full of empty parked cars. So I ended up having 15 different interactions out there with the cops, because they're always out there doing that overtime duty, something the city has set up. You can hire the police to do different things for your activities you got, any kind of concert you're having. They have to do security. In this particular case, they're doing doing traffic control. So I kept having all these. They kept coming out to me. So I ended up getting up to 10 complaints. Officer Grant was the first complaint. Then it was Hoisington and Stewart with the second complaint. Then it was Hoisington and Officer Hunt again, and they were 2 on one day. Then it was Officer English and Detective Gulls. And that particular time I got arrested and I went to jail for 45 days. And in the midst of that arrest, they tried to send me to the sanitarium, the one in Las Vegas, New Mexico, because I'm holding a sign out on the sidewalk and it's Calvary Chapel. I get out of jail. I finally go back there. This is just a period from October of '06 to February of '08. And here comes Hoisington again, Madrid and Montoya this time. And they're bothering me, harassing me, trying to sit there and detain me, saying I'm trespassing on a public sidewalk. Then a couple months later, it's Officer Keys and his bald-headed partner. He was telling me to shut up. You can't talk to people. Hand on his gun, doing all this dumb little behavior because people were talking to me at the church. They do talk to me. Then you have that same summer, you have Barella and Cutler. They arrested me the second time because in this particular case, Skip Isaac chases me out into the medium. I'm crossing over to catch the bus. It went by. It's going to turn around and go back, so I'm going to go home. And so he chases me into the medium, Skip Isaac and a couple of his buddies. And I didn't recognize him in a second. All of a sudden, I realized, oh, it's Skip Isaac. Hey, I'll talk to him. I'll catch the next bus. So he starts yelling and screaming, trying to do the thing where he's trying to stand at the edge of my feet and chest bump and all that. Finally, I backed up. We started arguing and all this. And pretty soon, I was reminding people about how he took in the money and he was mad. And pretty soon, we're done talking, about 6-8 minutes. He goes like this to the police, and the police walk over to Billard and Cutler, and they arrest me. I go to jail. There I was there for a week. So I get out. Then it gets worse. So then it's ratcheting up. Of course, all this time I'm down there at the Internal Affairs. I'm down there at the Independent Review Office. I'm down there at the City Council. I'm going to City Council meetings. I'm calling Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 13 over and over again. I'm taking stuff down to those people. I talked to physically Jeremy Johola of Channel 4, Mike Garafello, John Garafello, Kerry Swan at the Channel 7, John Cleveland at Channel 13, let alone going down there and handing them out stuff and calling them. At KKOB, the radio station, I talked to General Manager Pat Allen about it. At the Albuquerque Journal, I talked to Karen Moses, Jeff Proctor, TJ Wilhelm. At the Weekly Alibi was Christy Chisholm. I talked to everybody I could to get some attention on my story. Called every attorney in the town. I couldn't get anybody to help me out there because Skip Isaac has that whole town underneath his thumb in his back pocket. So in this particular instance here, so this is September now of '07. So I'm out there again, just standing there, and here comes Officer Macumber Marquez, and she's screaming at me that I can't stand out here, and he had gone somewhere, drove somewhere else. All of a sudden, he sees him talking to me. This is on the public sidewalk. She sees him talking to me, and she starts screaming away, and he comes out, he screeches his tires, he jumps out, he's in my face. You're going to go across the street, man. You can't stand here. I said, BS, I've been standing here for a year now. I can stand here till I'm blue in the face. I don't have to be across the street. The hell you don't, he said. I'm not going across the street, sir. I've been standing here for 13 months now. I'm not going across the street. Oh, yeah, and he acts like he's going to walk away. And all of a sudden, he takes his swipe and punch in my face. I move, of course, to get out of his way. I don't want to get punched by the guy. And all of a sudden, he grabs the sign. He rips the sign out and says, F you. And he whops in the car. She goes in and starts laughing away, Marquez does, and she starts putting her taser on. I go, okay, I can see you guys are escalating this confrontation. I'm going to go across the street. I go across the street. Now they've assaulted me. And I go across the street. Finally, he talked to somebody, Sergeant Greco, I believe, who was the sergeant in charge of that area. They all have area commands, and that was Sergeant Greco's command, because the next month he was out there doing his hey buddy routine. So finally I get my sign back, and he says, I should have arrested you for disorderly conduct. I said, man, you guys are full of it. So I start spanning back there, but he's not done. This is just one more interaction I had with the police. He's not done though. So he pulls up, the services in session. This is like the second service now. There's nobody out there but me and him. I'm standing on the sidewalk. He's kind of in the entryway parking his car, and he goes, you know what? Some blankety blank like you, I'm not going to use the words he used. You're going to get shot one of these days. You know that? You're going to get shot one of these days. This is Officer Macumber, Albuquerque police officer. I said, what are you going to do? You're going to shoot me, man, for doing what? Standing here? What are you going to shoot me for? Oh, I'm not going to do the one shoot you. You're a smart aleck. Somebody's going to shoot you out there. I said, man, you're full of it. I'm just standing out here sharing my stuff. If you don't like it, you can overcome my speech. Nobody's going to shoot me out here. If anybody's going to shoot me, it would be you and the rest of your buddies there with the way you're acting. F you, he says. And so that particular interaction, so I went down to Lieutenant Feist again. And remember, Lieutenant Feist at the time was the head of the Internal Affairs. I talked to that guy, if not every week, every other week for 18 months down there at Internal Affairs. Everybody knows me down there. I kept beating on that door. I kept telling him, what are you doing? You can't keep bothering me out there. You're violating my civil rights. Well, he just kept doing it. He wasn't doing anything. He's a nothing. In this particular case, oh, this is a case of assault, Mr. Smith. We're going to do something about this. Oh, we're going to do something about this. He did nothing. Will Deaton, the independent review office, he just ripped it up. He just told me, he said, too bad you got your sign back, and they ripped up an assault claim. You see another cover-up. So then I had one more interaction that I complained about. That was Officer Martin, and she came out there with getting in my face, trying to stand at the edge of my feet, follow me around on the sidewalk, hand on her gun. I'm just trying to keep away from her. You know, I'm just having my hands. I don't do anything to these people. I'm just holding my sign. I want to share my stuff. I don't want the police talking to me, around me, bothering me. Finally, I had to run the other way when she got a distance away from me. I just took off running. You're going to chase after me? Of course she didn't. I complained about that. Finally, that particular complaint was found for me. So out of the 9 complaints, the 10th one was found for me. 5 of them they just ripped up and threw away. 4 of the complaints I got to go argue at the independent review office. The independent review, they have a once a month meeting where you can go, like a public comments, but you can also have a little trial. I got to go to that. And then this particular complaint was found for out of the 10 complaints, 1 was found for me. So it was a small victory. So to get to the end of this video, this is what I said to you about John Corson. How does he corrupt that area that they keep covering up, all those people? How does Skip Heitzig have all this abusive behavior? How does he get the police over and over again? In one of the interactions, he came out there to scream and yell at me himself and got me arrested. How did he get him to do all that stuff? What's going on there at Calvary Chapel of Albuquerque that he can get them to do all that? Remember, I'm just standing on a sidewalk. I have a sign that says, one of them said, no rapture, the 12th apostle is coming, that prophecy I've said before. Skip Heitzig's a liar. I ended up having Skip Heitzig as an imposter. Remember the thing about Skip Heitzig is that he was already caught up in that scandal when he took the money and he left to start another church and he didn't tell the folks. I'm going to do another video on that. And that video has to do with him and Franklin Graham, because Franklin Graham was a part of Calvary Chapel. And one quick note on Franklin Graham. He was the one that was there preaching on my arrest when I got arrested by Officer English and Detective Gonzalez. when Detective Gonzalez was trying to assault me out on the sidewalk, and I flagged her down, and he was an off-duty police officer who didn't have his badge out, and I'd been backing away, and I just started to push back. Now you're not going to keep pushing me anyway. That's when I went to jail, and they tried to send me to the sanitarium. So good old Franklin Graham was a part of that arrest and all that abuse too. But I'm going to do another video on Franklin Graham and Skip Heitzig and Calvary Chapel. That's going to be my next one. So I'm trying to recap this thing, not get into everything and waste too much time. What I'm trying to suggest is that it's a church of 12 to 15,000 people. I know they have a reach and they have influence, but I'm standing on the sidewalk holding a sign, sharing my views. I went to everybody in that town to get relief, to get help for me, to have them stop coming out to me. Because remember, they kept ratcheting up the violence towards me. They were trying to harm me. So I didn't want to get harmed by them. But I'm going to stand out there. I mean, I'm not going to not do it. But I kept going down there. I said, you guys just can't, you're violating my civil rights. I mean, they must have violated my rights 45 times. They violated my civil rights every time they walked out there. They violated my civil rights through the process. So I'm still waiting for an explanation from the city of Albuquerque, because I promise you I'm going to get it. Because pretty soon I'm going to be out on TV. I'm going to be out in public. And everybody's going to go right back to Albuquerque. And they're going to ask all the people. They're going to ask the television stations there. They're going to ask the city council. They're going to ask the mayor's office, the chief administrator's office. They're going to ask the independent review office, internal affairs, the newspapers. They're going to be asking them, I don't get it. Why did the police keep being allowed to keep walking out to the man on the sidewalk? Why did they keep going out to him? And he was down there complaining every other week for 18 months. Why was that allowed to keep taking place if there's no give to get with Skip Heitzig? If there's no corruption scandal taking place? If there's no something evil behind closed doors that he can get that kind of favoritism? He did it in front of everybody in that town. Near the end of my time standing out there, Channel 4 or Channel 13 or Channel 7, they would take different turns and they would drive all the way out there. They would drive past me. There's nobody out there but me standing there. It was so embarrassing. They wouldn't even stop to ask. They just were so bothered that why does this guy keep standing out there? Because it's their little temple and I'm bothering it. And they don't like me. I'm not one of them. I'm trying to ask questions, point the fingers. I'm asking questions. They don't like it. They like what they get behind closed doors, and they want to keep doing it. And so, once again, I'm warning you to stay away from the Calvary chapels. I don't care if you've got one in your town. They're all the same. I don't care what you tell me. Because I haven't been to all the Calvary chapels, but I've been enough of them, and I've been to their pastors' conferences where I stood 800,000 of them at those pastors' conferences, all 4 days of their thing, and told them all the same stuff. You need to stay away from those people at Calvary Chapel. You need to stay away from Skip Heitzig. And I got a message for those people at Albuquerque Calvary Chapel. You guys are nothing. You guys all just sat there and watched those people bother me over and over and over again. What's going to be your excuse? He was holding a sign on the sidewalk. He called the pastor an imposter. He said the rapture's not going to happen yet. What's going to be your excuse when you just drove by and watched over and over again? You're going to say he should go to jail? So again, it isn't going to go your way. It's going to go my way. I'm thankful for that. And I'm just so thankful once again that I get to represent Jesus Christ. So in this particular video, I'm just exposing Skip Heitzig and the corruption that he's spread all over the city of Albuquerque. Everybody knows that they're not given to him for free. They're not given to him for nothing. So what's taking place there? And that's what's going to be exposed as time goes by. That's what I'm going to bring out of there. And I'm going to show you out here. And I promise you, when you find out, you're not going to like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And take care.